Okay, I had done a review of the Snoppa Atom a few days ago, and it was just a preliminary review. So I'm gonna look actually at this gimbal after a few days of having used it and what I found out about it, and also correct some of my initial impressions, which I have learned that were not correct. I mean, I have used it a bit more and realized that it's actually much better than I realized. So anyway, it's very compact. It comes in this little bag here, which is adequate. I mean, it's not a case. Obviously, you can certainly find something a little bit more protective for it. As you notice, I don't think it's going to be difficult to find something that you can adapt to hold this in a carrying case. So if you want to chuck it into some luggage, it probably would make sense to get something a bit more protective than just a canvas bag. This is folded, so you just have to push this button here to unfold it up, then unlock this other hinge, and then you just have to place the phone into the spring-loaded mechanism here, and it's in. You don't need to load the app necessarily. I mean, I can show you it works even without it. You just make sure that it's reasonably balanced, but the gimbal does a pretty good job at finding balance anyway. There we go. You just turn it on, and here we go. It finds balance pretty well, and as you will notice, this gimbal has got particular geometry, which is not the classic 90 degrees arm setup that you find in other gimbals. It's got the arms a little bit more angled, let's say, so they are leaving the end of the phone free, so that you can plug in a charger. As you notice, there is the possibility of plugging in even the microphone, which reroutes through the gimbal and is then possible to connect to this jack here. The gimbal has this arm structure, which then leaves the back a little bit less jutting out, which then I'll show you allows you to connect a camera and not have it, even if it's a wide angle camera, not have the lens into the field of view. The only limit that I initially found was that it would be very natural for a low shot to hold it in spotlight position, but as you will see, it doesn't really work because the gimbal hits a stop, and so it will always sort of stay at an angle there and not be able to go low. I found there is a workaround, so by holding the trigger I can just go low this way and do a crane shot this way, so the phone stays nice horizontal in this way. So it's just a little bit awkward. Obviously it's not the most natural movement, but it's totally possible. And yeah, this is the button that sort of achieves portrait and horizontal mode, which I inadvertently touched. If you hold it instead, the phone is rotated towards you very quickly. Double tap and the phone goes back into the horizontal position. Holding this will then turn the phone towards me. And again, so I can do a crane shot this way. I mean, it's just for showing purposes, but it just works. And again, I hold it and it comes back. Nothing. It's a really nice and well behaved gimbal, easy to use, quite intuitive. All of these sort of joystick buttons work responsively. I haven't had issues with it. It's just that the manual is very scant, so there is no printed manual, but I bought this through Indiegogo, so I paid very little, and I can understand they hadn't probably printed the manuals in the first few batches, and now in the app I think they put some sort of PDF or interactive guide that you can sort of consult to understand how it works. It's got a rocker, it's got a series of buttons which are all reprogrammable in the app. I would say the app is basic. It's not one of the most full-featured apps I've seen for gimbals, but it just does its job, and I think they keep improving it. I mean, I've already updated it twice since I got this just a couple of weeks ago. I will now disconnect a minute, try to install a camera, try to install a lens, an external lens, and and show you how the gimbal behaves with an external lens, and I'll put on the app so you can also see that it doesn't get the gimbal in frame. I have mounted the Zeiss Exolens wide with the angle mount. Now the gimbal is off, so I just wanted to show you that it's pretty unbalanced with it on. I mean, I haven't yet found whether there are any counterbalances, counterweights for this particular gimbal. I'm pretty sure they will come out given how popular it was, but at the moment they don't exist. I've opened the app, but I haven't yet connected the gimbal, so I just wanted to show you how the gimbal manages to find balance even with this extreme sort of position. Just a second, I think I have to unlock this. Exactly, there it is. Good. That's it. Let's turn on the gimbal and see how it manages. And there it goes. So it seems to find to get a balance quite easily. So now it's nice and steady, does vertical, horizontal, rotates towards me. So it seems to be managing fine. I've previously recorded some video in this setup and I heard a little bit of a whirring noise, so I'm pretty sure that the motor is working a bit harder than it should given the weight of this lens, which is one of the heaviest you can get probably for an iPhone. And it seems to be doing fine though. I mean not for prolonged use probably, and with a counterbalance it would be better, a counterweight, but at the moment I wouldn't complain. Let's try to turn the app on. Sorry for this awkward position, I'm trying to do everything with one hand. Okay, so the app is now connected. So as you notice, the gimbal never goes into frame. I mean, it's always behind the lens, so the lens never even catches in the extreme position. Probably I might be able to, yeah, there it is, started to come into frame, but honestly it's hitting the lens before coming into frame. So I would say that this gimbal is quite good to be used with an external lens, because compared to other gimbals where you have to hold them in a flashlight position constantly in order not to have the lens capture part of one of the arms of the gimbal, this gimbal is very short in terms of frontal arm, so it doesn't really come into the frame, and that's very good for those that want to use a wide angle or an external lens, tele or other. And this is the only issue that I found. So the gimbal tends to have a little bit of a limited range of movement given the strange sort of angle of the arms. So while in this direction it's pretty easy to, and it doesn't really encounter any stop, if I go the other way, not very much, and it's still an awkward position to hold, so I wouldn't say that it's really an issue. But I noticed that if I keep going this way, I hit a stop at a certain point, and the gimbal then immediately rotates the phone vertically. So I have to, as you notice, I just go this way, hit the stop, and the gimbal then rotates the phone in portrait mode, which is probably programmed to prevent you from sort of losing stabilization, but it's pretty annoying when you're filming to have your film get rotated 90 degrees like that. Anyway, just part of my review. Otherwise, I'm really happy with it. I couldn't be happier. I've used it just a few days. I cannot really vouch for the entire sort of suitability of this for most users, and it will last me long, I'm pretty sure, but I would like to try it with an external microphone before and first, and then try in all different use case scenarios, see how long the battery lasts. It's been lasting me now a couple of weeks of on and off use, so I would say it does last quite a few days. Anyway, thank you for this, for listening to this very sort of disorganized review, and do please ask me some questions in the comments. I mean, I'm no professional reviewer, I was just showing you this because I think I'm one of the first to have received it, since I was one of the early supporters of the Indiegogo campaign. Very happy with this. It's really innovative and it works very well. Thank you.